The Digital Photography Cafe show is brought to you by Focus Pyramid, the autofocus lens calibration tool for your camera, and by ShootProof, the easy way to proof and sell your photos online.
Welcome to the Digital Photography Cafe show. Join hosts Trevor Curran and Joseph Christina as they chat about the art and business of photography.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. This is episode 136. I'm Joseph Christina here with my co-host Trevor Curran. On last week's episode, we talked about Samsung's new NX30 and Galaxy cameras, some essential productivity apps, delivering images to your clients, and how to convince prospects to hire you. If you haven't watched last week's show, I encourage you to do so. You can find it at our website, digitalphotographycafe.com, and iTunes. Listen with the popular Stitcher, TuneIn, and Xbox music apps, or watch in HD on TiVo.
So, Joe, we are back. I am back.
You are back.
How you doing?
How are you feeling, my friend?
I'm feeling pretty good for the most part.
Excellent. You sound good. Sound well?
Yeah, it's definitely sound better than I did early on.
Yes.
The tongue healing is going really well. We went through to the doctors over the last. God, it seems like I'm going to the doctors every day anymore.
You're like an old man now.
I do feel like an old man. Yeah, with all the aches and pains. But yeah, the tongue is healed up really nice. You know, I am missing a little bit of it, as Joe had mentioned on the early shows there. They wound up having to remove a pretty decent amount, but the healing overall is going really well. For the most part, my speech has returned to normal. I still have a few issues with sounds in certain words and things like that, and hopefully it won't bug you guys listening to the show.
Yeah, not bad at all, considering you had a good chunk of your tongue.
Yeah, exactly.
You sound fantastic. So now I think you just have, I guess, radiation left to do, and that's it?
Yeah. Now the fun really begins. So after the surgery and the whole healing process went through, I'm feeling good. I mean, I feel almost normal, other than my tongue just feeling a little weird and some sounds being a little off. I mean, I feel almost 100% like I was. Awesome. But now I do need to start radiation treatments. They're going to actually treat both sides of my neck, in the lymph node area, just as a precautionary measure, as well as my tongue on the right side, to make sure that if there's any microscopic cells left, they will radiate the crap out of it, and then that will be it.
They will be dead.
They'll be dead. I mean, the surgery went extremely well. They removed all of it. The scans that I had done post-surgery showed nothing else in my body. So if anything exists, it's at the molecular level, and that's what the radiation will do, is completely kill it. So I get to start that next week. By the time you guys hear this, I will probably be laying in the machine.
Exactly.
I have to go 5 days a week for 6 weeks, which really kind of sucks. I'm going to be glowing by the end of the 6th week. The treatments does have side effects, such as sore throat. I'll have sores on my tongue. It does also create muscle weakness. So eating can potentially be quite difficult. I was told, though, that it will be a progression. So starting off, I'll probably feel fine, but probably by the end of 6 weeks, I'm not going to feel all that great. So I'm eating while I can. I'm bulking up, trying to put on the extra weight. After my surgery, I lost like 10 pounds in 6 days, which is a lot.
Yes, that's a bunch.
I mean, my normal winter weight is around 202, 205. I got down to 192.
Yeah, you'll probably lose a little bit more now that you'll be on radiation.
Yeah, I'll probably get down to my fighting weight of 185.
Yes.
But hopefully no further than that, because they did say if I should lose a significant amount of weight, that they'll have to put a whole feeding tube in and all that nasty stuff.
Yeah, you don't want that. That's for sure.
Definitely don't want that.
Well, so, I'm sure the tens of thousands of people out there listening, I'm sure there's a ton of prayers that went out to you and are continuing, and all the well wishes that we received and everything. So
yeah, absolutely.
I'm really happy that you're feeling you're feeling good enough to do the show right now, and we'll see moving forward if you're at a couple of shows, and you are,
Yeah. I do want to thank everybody personally. I know Joe kind of threw a big thank you out there on previous shows, but I definitely want to thank everyone who's emailed or who has tweeted me or posted on Facebook. Your support, your well wishes. I do really appreciate it, and it definitely helps to have that support during this time. I mean, family and friends, close friends have been great, but just knowing that our community, that our listeners and our viewers are behind us too. I mean, really does mean a lot.
Absolutely. Well, we've been serving them for a couple of years, as I say, free of charge, and it's great that there's a little way that they can possibly give back to us too. So
that's and actually, it's a big way. I mean, having that support really means a lot,
Absolutely. So this week,
ton of stuff, people.
Yeah, I alluded to it last week that this week's going to be nuts with PMA, CES, all the trade shows that are going on over in
Las Vegas.
And I mean, I wish I was there. I used to go, being in the computer field for many, many, many years. I used to be at CES, for just year after year, probably 10 years straight. And I really like CES. CES is fun. PMA is great over there too. But anyways, so let's get right into it.
It's going to be a long one, so grab a cup of coffee and get comfortable.
There's a lot of releases, a lot of stuff going on. So let's start out with Fuji. Fuji's got, we like the guys, the gals over there at Fuji a lot. And they released the Fuji's X100S. But, okay, so these type of cameras, these mirrorless cameras, are really great for street photography. But, looking at some of the Fujis, and they look like an old, SRT 101 or something, a Minolta film camera, which is really retro and is really cool, but it's kind of, a little bit awkward. It's kind of hard being, the street guy wants to be, like incognito. So now they released it in a solid matte black that is just absolutely beautiful. And the thing is it's not that limited edition where you're paying extra for the black.
Right.
You can actually get it now in that matte, beautiful black for the same charge as the standard camera, which is really, really cool. It's a beautiful, beautiful camera. Yeah,
they really are nice cameras. I mean, we've talked about them a lot. We do like them. We checked them out when we were in New York at Photo Plus. They are really nice, but it's basically the same specs as the previous silver version, 16 megapixel APS-C. Their whole X-Trans CMOS sensor system, which is nice. So it is really nice, but I mean, is it any big news other than it just coming in black? No,
absolutely not. Absolutely not. Same. So moving on with Fujifilm. So more lenses, and this will help a lot, because that's always the issues when you're dealing with the ILCs, these small mirrorless ILCs and whatnot. It's lens. We always say glass. Glass is so important. They're releasing 5 new lenses, 3 of which are kind of like right there, and you can kind of see them. Yes. They're all the XF. One is an 18 to 135. Now this is a variable, so it's an f 3.5 to 3.5 to 5.6. I personally would not purchase that, even though it is like a telephoto. I just don't like variable nothing. I like just a prime lens straight. Period, whatever it's going to be, 1.4, 1.8, 2.8, 2.0, whatever it is. I just want consistency right across the board. It just makes for an easier time to shoot manual and to get what you're looking. It's always going to be consistent. So that's a pretty nice lens, just the same. And also they released a 16 to 55 2.8 and the 50 to 140 2.8. I know you love the 2.8s too, right?
Oh yeah, I love the 2.8s. I mean, these have optical image stabilization in them, which is always great. I mean, we like those features, and then coming soon to a photography store near you, they have a telephoto and a wide angle. They're going to be
also fast glass.
Yeah, they're going to be fast glass. They didn't really have too many more specs and details about those right now, so. More to come on that, but they're making some nice steps here, and then they have the XF 56 millimeter f1.2 portrait lens for the X system,
right?
Which sounds pretty good too, but not a cheap price, right?
Yeah. Well, I guess it's relative.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess it comes in at about let's say 85 millimeters. I guess would be what it would once you strap it on.
Yeah, the equivalent, I guess. Yeah,
it's something like that. Whatever. The bottom line is perfect portrait lens, a 1.2. Personally, on a Canon side, a 50 millimeter 1.2 or 85 millimeter 1.2, just gorgeous, milky backgrounds, beautiful. On a Canon, for us, we do a 1.2 on an 85. We're paying about $2,600. This is going to be faring at $1,000. So even though it is a big, it's expensive. You're paying for that, heavy glass. It's a ton to be able to get 1.2 out of it. There's a lot of glass in there, and it's probably going to be weighty, which it should be. I hope it is. But yeah, I mean, $1,000 is not bad. And that, I mean, they call it a portrait lens. Trust me, that is a portrait lens.
Yeah, that's a nice lens, and they say it's going to be available in February. So that's good.
Not too far away.
So that's good. If you've got one of these Fuji X systems, you've got some new lenses to look forward to in the very near future, and you can expand your arsenal of tools.
Yeah. And, the whole mirrorless thing, a lot of folks are going mirrorless now, and, we definitely think mirrorless is the way of the future. I know there's a lot of other podcasts out there and people that have talked about mirrorless and said, no, it's just not the same. It's not going to make it. And why would you buy mirrorless when they're almost the same size once you strap the glass onto it, and yada yada yada.
Right.
I'm telling you, I'm gonna stand by it, even though everyone else is not. I'm gonna say mirrorless is, I would say 90%. It will be the way of the future, or a derivative thereof, because it just less moving parts is. I mean, I can make a whole list of why.
Sure.
But we're not going to do that for this show. But having one of these cameras and knowing that they are moving forward with making pro glass. And anytime I see straight lenses that are, it's a 2.8 or less, 2.0, the Fuji, as well as now a 1.2, they are looking at pro, or at least prosumer market, and kudos to them. I think that's fantastic.
That's right.
So more Fuji, right?
Yeah, more Fuji. So they also introduced a portable Instax printer.
This is cool.
Which is, this really is pretty cool. So we're kind of getting off of the cameras for a little bit, and we're getting into this little tiny portable printer. The idea is that it lets you print pictures from your smartphone wirelessly and be able to give them to people right on the spot. It's an instant printer, almost like the way a Polaroid camera would spit out the pictures. This is able to spit out the pictures right from your phone, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's the old Instamatic type thing. You go to a party and there's people taking pictures like crazy, and so what do they do now? Usually they'll share them on Facebook or share them on Instagram or something like that. So that's it. But to be able to take that tangible, that launches out the bottom of the camera, or the printer, and handing it to someone, there's just nothing like that. And usually those little tiny square photos, or little Instamatic type of Polaroid, you keep those a lifetime. It's just the weirdest thing. You always do. You can have 500 digital photos, but you got that one physical that you hold. It could be blurry. It could be just like mediocre at best, but you still keep that. It's just something about that tangible, and associating with a specific time, associating with a specific smell or taste or party or
an event, or the person you were with, or something. Well, that's exactly right. I mean, that's where printing comes in, and we always talk about, you got to print the pictures that you're shooting, because otherwise they sit on your memory card and you don't really get to relive the moments. You don't experience them. And having a portable printer like this, where you're at a party, your friends are with you, or even when you get home, to be able to run them off and run out a print and stick it on your wall or something, put it by your computer or whatever. And, it could be of that, just a special moment, or that person or whatever that you want to have available. And this is an interesting way to do it.
I love it. What's really cool though is this printer turns into a Wi-Fi hotspot. So once you download the app to, let's say, your iPhone, your Android phone, you now have full access to it and be able to print at any time that on the fly, using this Wi-Fi connection from 30 feet away or the next room over, which is really cool. It uses ISO 800 film, so you can do a little bit. It'll handle low light stuff without a problem. They call it ISO 800 because it does have that capability.
And it's not cheap film either. This is not like an inkjet printer where you're buying big containers of ink and just printing on regular paper. I mean, this is special paper, and it is a little pricey.
Yeah. If is this the dye sub? I think it might be.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a chemically derivative print or whether it's like a dye sub, but yeah, they did specifically say that it is going to be a little bit pricey, and it does have enough battery power built into it. It uses 2 lithium-ion batteries, and they say that you can get 100 prints per charge. That's a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Especially if the paper is expensive, 100 prints is probably going to be a good amount for a party. So it's going to go for about $200, guys. Take a look. It sounds like it'd be something fun, especially for parties.
Yes, the model is the SP1.
Yeah,
so
Fuji's
Google it.
SP1.
Fuji SP1. That's right.
So, all right, guys. Before we go any further, we got a ton more for you. Let's go ahead and take a quick break to hear from one of our sponsors.
As photographers, we're always trying to increase sales and profits after every event.
We shoot an event and have hundreds or even thousands of images that just sit on our hard drives.
Perhaps a better workflow would increase sales by getting those valuable images in front of the client.
That's where ShootProof comes in. At shootproof.com, you can have an online gallery for all of your clients' proofing needs.
ShootProof helps increase profits while building your brand and securing your photos without charging commission fees on sales.
ShootProof galleries display your photos beautifully while helping to streamline your workflow and automate more of your business through their intuitive studio control panel.
Once approved, photos can be directly fulfilled through ShootProof's various professional lab partners or fulfilled by you.
All ShootProof plans have the same feature set. You simply choose the number of client photos stored, decide what products to sell, and the price.
Try ShootProof today by taking advantage of their free 30-day trial offer.
As a Digital Photography Cafe viewer, ShootProof is offering a 20% discount off any of their premium plans by using promo code DPC20 at checkout.
ShootProof. Upload, share, sell, print.
All right, so we are back to add into the camera news, the lens news that we were talking about. Sigma has a whole new lens, and if you're familiar with the Sigma lines, they have, lenses kind of that are geared for specific let's say shooting environments, and they released a new 50 millimeter f1.4 art lens. So it's part of their art lens. I love it.
They call it the art lens.
Yes, designed to give you that artistic look to your photos.
Yeah, so it also works on Nikon, right? The DX line.
Yes.
The APS. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And that will come to, what is it, 75 millimeter, I guess, since it is a DX. It'll work on a DX body, so it'll be at about
on the crop sensor.
But regardless, 1.4, we're back to this, just like we said earlier, prime lenses, one non-variable, 1.4, 50, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful lens. I love it. I use a 1.4 all the time. I even use the cheap, as we call the toy lenses, the 1.8 50s. Love those too. So, yeah, they call it the art lens, and I think rightfully so. I think you're going to get some amazing backgrounds with this. It's a 13-element 8-group, the way it's put together. So,
it's similar. They're saying it's similar in design to the Otis lens that we talked about several shows back.
Can you imagine a Zeiss lens?
Which that's pretty heavy duty. Yeah,
to even say that. That's,
And this is a whole brand new design. This is it's built kind of from the ground up with this new lens functionality, this new way that it works, as opposed to just a revision off their old 50 millimeters. So
brand new improved autofocus. I am the autofocus guy. So autofocus is so important. New algorithms for their autofocus, which is great. Once again, Sigma, their new lenses now come with this docking station, which is really cool. So if you guys don't know, you can listen to a couple of shows ago. We talked about the Sigma's docking station, but basically what it does is it allows you to update the firmware on your lens. So if something happens where there's an incompatibility with a body that comes out,
which is what we saw. We saw that a few weeks ago. That was a big deal with the new Nikon bodies.
Exactly. So they're able to now, you can just snap on this bottom cap, I guess, but the cap has a cord coming out of it, a USB cord, plug it into your computer, boom, dump the latest firmware onto that lens, because it does have a chip in it, and now you're up and running again. Everything is great with the lens. Everything's copacetic. And what's cool about it also is it provides you with a way to do autofocus lens calibration on that specific lens to the body you're going to use it. So now,
Right.
obviously, it's not like doing autofocus lens calibration, like, you know, Focus Pyramid allows you to grab this information and then you go dump it into the firmware on your camera. And then every time you snap on a lens, it
Right.
automatically compensates for that, the lens anomalies, let's say. Whereas this will allow you to compensate from that one lens to the one body, and that's
Right.
it, because
And
you're doing
that's
the
it.
compensation inside the lens and not inside the body. But being able to do that is great. You don't
At
have
least
to
you're able to
send
do
the
it.
lens back, you know, because it's slightly, you know, front focusing or rear focusing. You dial it in.
No, because the fact of the matter is, even if you were to send it back, they're going to calibrate it back to factory standards.
Yeah.
And that factory standard may not be appropriate for your particular body. So being able to calibrate it yourself at minimum to that one body is going to give you better results than, you know, maybe working with it straight out of the box.
Absolutely, absolutely. So next, Sony's in the news, right? They introduced, what is it? A 20 megapixel, love it, 20 megapixel,
Yes.
A5000. So once again, mirrorless camera, APS-C, built-in Wi-Fi. They're kind of billing this as the absolute world's lightest ILC
Yep.
out there. So,
And they're kind of
looks
getting away
interesting.
from, this is the NX body style camera, but they're
Right.
kind of getting away from the NEX name. And,
Yes.
and they're starting to go back more towards just the standard alpha model numbers, you know, the
Right.
A, in this case, the A5000.
It's an interesting step, right?
Yeah, well, and I think that's where you're starting to see that merger of their product
Exactly.
lines, rather than having the separate, almost consumer / entry level prosumer line of the NEXs to the higher end alphas that are meant for the pros. There really is a blurring of the lines now, because
Yeah.
these little NEXs, these mirrorless bodies, really are becoming more of that pro style camera.
Absolutely. Prosumer,
Yep.
definitely. So that's kind of interesting. I like that. I like where they're moving with it. You know, so it has, of course, the built-in NFC.
NFC, that's Sony's hot thing that they're really jumping on there.
NFC,
Yep.
you know, for easy Wi-Fi.
Near
3-inch
field
LCD.
communication.
Yes.
Just in
near-field
case anybody
communication,
forgets.
if you guys don't know what that is. So that's neat. You know, I like that. I like that a lot. It's got the pop-up flash, 3-inch LCD on the back.
Yep.
I like that it flips. Very important. That's, you know, and that it works out. I think even the pro cameras out there, no more a year or two down the road, probably we're going to have the backs that will be flipping.
Yeah, all the new cameras are going to have flip out
that's just the
LCDs.
way it
That's what people want. It's convenient.
There's no reason not to give it to a pro.
No.
You know, what would be the purpose behind it?
No,
right?
no.
So they do have their Android-esque operating system, Samsung. So like the Samsung cameras do,
Right.
that I think is just fabulous. Where you can go and download like Android apps and put it onto your camera.
Sure,
instead
that
of
will
your phone.
enhance what your camera can do. Yeah.
So now they have their own, I guess, proprietary system where you can download apps also onto this camera, which I think is cool.
Yeah,
I think
and
a
it
lot of
adds
cameras are going this
functionality.
way now.
Yep. Yeah, really cool. I like the idea. It ships in March, and it comes with a 16 to 50 millimeter kit lens for about $600. So, yeah, it looks pretty cool.
Yeah, $600. That's good. And so it's definitely in between that prosumer type of level. You know, usually when by the time you hit $1,000, you consider it prosumer. But you know, I think the prices are starting to come down a lot, and what they're giving is, you know, going up a lot. So that is that melding point. You know, with that meeting point where the two meld together. You know, the amateur to pro-am. So kind of interesting. So Nikon unveils the predecessor to the D3300. Now it's the D3300, right?
Yeah,
new
the
sensor,
next
processor, you know, kit lenses, blah blah yada yada, right?
Yep. The next in the line of their entry level DSLRs. So they're some basic improvements, but this is more your entry level camera. I mean, if you're a pro, I don't think this is really the camera for you. But, it's still a respectable camera. Yep, like I said, 24 megapixel CMOS sensor. There's no optical low-pass filter. That
seems to be the way things are going.
Yep,
right?
Yep, they're getting rid of
the
those.
optical low-pass is being pulled out for, software interpolation on the backside to compensate. for not having the low pass filter. Fuji was known for doing that, making things smaller and pancake lenses and whatnot. So yeah, that's I think the way of the future. Definitely, low pass will be gone eventually completely.
Yep, expandable ISO up to like 25,600.
Yeah, pretty standard.
It's pretty standard nowadays. HD video, 1080p, 60 frames per second. That full deal.
Not bad. It's only shooting at 5 frames per second, which is kind of slow, but for the camera, for what it is, 5 frames per second is quick enough burst speed. No complaints, I guess you would say. Kit lens, once again, variable was a 3.5 to 6 to 5.6, which God, I hate those lenses. I mean. Okay, guys, if you're buying a camera out there and it has one of these kit lenses that are variable and it gives you the ability to buy the body by itself, and just get a good lens.
Just get a better lens.
Just get a good lens. So even if you say, oh, well, the lens is only $100, well, spend $200 and get a good lens that's going to last, you a lifetime.
Well, this lens alone, this new lens, so it's a new version. It's a lighter and smaller, more compact version of the 18 to 55. And this lens alone is going to cost $250. Yeah. So I don't know if I would spend the separate money on that. Now, when you're talking about the higher end pro cameras, I remember back when the 5D Mark II was coming with the kit lens. That kit lens was an L lens.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a good lens.
Different.
And that alone was a very expensive lens if you were to purchase it separately.
Yeah.
But we're talking about a whole different situation here.
Yeah, different ball game completely.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyways, hey, the body and the kit, as a kit together will be $650, lens only $250, available in February. So that's the Nikon D 3300, predecessor to the 3200. So
and kind of along with this announcement, they kind of are teasing and with actual bodies though at CES, the new D4S.
Right.
So this is their new flagship HD DSLR thing that they're doing. Really not much specs available on it. They kind of just had the body in the cases, and people have been taking pictures of it and putting it up online. So right now, I'm going to kind of say it's not much of a story. It's kind of one of those things. Really, it's coming, and we'll see what it's all about when they actually release some specs on it.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be huge. So they want to get some buzz out there, especially since it wasn't able to be done for CES or PMA. So anyways, guys, we have a lot more for you. Yeah, let's go ahead and take one more break to hear from our sponsor.
Are you frustrated with slightly out of focus images when you know your autofocus spot was dead on? It's simply not your fault. From manufacturer to manufacturer, and even lens copy to lens copy, there are slight variances to the exact spot where light is being focused onto the sensor. Finally, there's a product that allows you to compensate for those variances and make sharper images immediately. Focus Pyramid, the autofocus lens calibration tool, is an absolute must for every photographer. If you want to make the sharpest images possible, then you need to take control over your camera's focusing system. With the Focus Pyramid, you can calibrate all of your lenses on your lunch break. The Focus Pyramid makes lens calibration quick and easy at an affordable price. So give your lenses a new lease on life and take your photography to the next level. Head over to focuspyramid.com/DPC and get an additional 10% off just for being a show listener.
So we're back, and Polaroid is back in the picture again with a camera called the Socialmatic camera. Kind of interesting. It kind of looks, it's like a square type of camera. They're saying it kind of looks like an Instagram logo. They've been talking about this for a long time. There were rumors, there were images online, and I guess there was enough of a buzz that Polaroid kind of liked what was being said about it, so they actually decided to make the camera.
Right. Why not, right?
Yeah.
The buzz, people are interested. Yeah, well, I don't know. Maybe, I think it's a little bit, a little late, a little too late type of thing. I don't know. A camera that you take a picture and it immediately shares,
on social networks. That's the idea.
That's your phone, that's your phone.
That's your phone, yep.
I don't know. There's cameras that have Wi-Fi built into it. We were talking about Samsung that has the apps that allow such connectivity already. It's all set up. It does that. Hey, I don't know. It could do well. I personally think it's a little late. I think
it might be a little late. I guess the biggest thing that it has going for it is in the Polaroid vein here. It does do prints built into the body. So just as we talked about that little printer that prints out the photos from Fuji, right from your smartphone. Right. Well, this has it built into it, and it uses Polaroid's zinc, that zero ink paper, which I'm guessing is like a dye sub or something.
Yeah, that's a dye sub.
So, I mean, that's kind of cool, again, for that instant sharing. But do you want to buy a camera like this to shoot and make the pictures and stuff? I mean, honestly, me personally, I think I'd rather just use my cell phone, which has got a really good image quality. You have it with you anyway. And maybe use one of these little Fuji printers or something. Yeah, a
little printer in the next room printing the stuff out. Yeah. I tell you what, it has its place.
It's going to have its place, that's right.
It does shoot 14 megapixel. It's not like an 8 megapixel on a camera or whatever. Yep. I'm sure it's got a pretty decent, it's got a backside sensor to it, which is 2 megapixels, for doing the little selfies and stuff. 4.5 inch touch screen, which is good. Of course, the Wi-Fi. It has the built-in 4 gig worth of memory, which is expandable through micro SD, which is good. I like the dye sub because dye sub prints are just they're stellar. They really look beautiful.
They do.
We used to do so much work with dye subs. We used to, back in the day, we used to run parties where, let's say for a bar mitzvah or something, we'd set up a backdrop, set up a whole screen. They would pay us to take portraits of everyone as they're coming in through a step and repeat or some type of backdrop, maybe a green screen, and then dump an overlay, whatever.
Yeah, drop a background in.
Yeah, some type of background, whatever it's going to be, in the background, and print those right there on the spot. And we would have sometimes 2 or 3 or 4 dye subs running, just continuously making 4x6s or 5x7s on and on and on throughout the duration of the party. And by the end of the party, there'd be a table with all of the frames that we've already stuffed all these pictures into, and you would have frames of everyone with this really cool backdrop. Let's say, it's a basketball themed bar mitzvah or something, and you're sitting, the person sitting next to Shaq or something. I don't know. It's that kind of thing. And they loved it. If they didn't get their picture, they would freak out.
Yes.
Freak out.
Yeah, that's right. I've done work with some people who are running the charities and stuff, like the golf outings and everything. And if any of you have been to golf outings, I mean, a lot of these things, they really make it a big to-do. They get, special celebrities coming in to pose for pictures. They play golf with them and stuff. Well, people want to leave that place with a picture with them and the celebrities, I mean, that's a big thing. So I mean, not that you would use this little Polaroid Socialmatic camera to do that with, because the prints are small. I mean, they're not like a big, huge print or anything like that. But again, the idea, people like a tangible. They like to have something in their hand when they're leaving an event, when they're leaving an occasion, when they're leaving a party, or if you're just hanging with your friends, and you want to, I see this being popular maybe with the younger kids, they're out at the clubs or whatever, they're banging out some pictures, they're printing some stuff out, they're handing them to their friends, I could see it.
Just like you said, to have something to take away with you, it's great to share it on Facebook or Instagram or wherever, but to actually have that in your hand, it's kind of neat. Pin it on your wall or something.
Right.
So anyways, back to Samsung. We love Samsung. I mean, I love Samsung. Yeah. They're introducing a 12.2 inch tablet, one of the Galaxies. I think Note as well as Tab. I bought a 8 inch for my wife for the holidays, and she just absolutely loves it. Now, I've done everything. We are the people, iPhones and, iPads and the
Macs
iMac.
And all Apple stuff,
All And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna try one of these Samsungs. So I'm telling you, Trev, I know that you got, I think your wife a iPad, one of the minis, the little 8-inch minis.
Yes, my wife picked me one up, and then we got one for her birthday, which is right after Christmas.
And so, she's got this Samsung 8-inch, and I tell you what, I'm probably going to get one of these for myself. It is spectacular. It really works well. I was on the fence. I'm like, it's about a couple $100 cheaper or something.
Yeah. But the iPads are expensive.
It's a dual core processor, 8-inch. The screen is just absolutely beautiful. The contrast is exceptional. We know Samsung, they know screens.
They're making the screens for the iPads anyway.
They make those screens. Well, they were, and then they weren't, and then they were again. And now, after being sued, they're probably thinking about maybe not giving them their screens. And I think Apple went with Sharp and somebody else, and there was so many problems that they're now asking Samsung for screens again. So we'll see how that goes. That's a whole nother story. But Samsung knows screens. And this is not to no exception. Absolutely beautiful. So now they have this 12.2. That's huge. That's bigger than an iPad. This is what Apple says their next iteration is going to be, about the size of foot. A 1 foot tablet, right? Okay. So there's two schools of thought here. I mean, the idea of a tablet is that it's something bigger than a smartphone and smaller than your laptop. Right. When you start hitting the 12.2 inch, now you're approaching that 13-inch laptop size. Yes. I mean, now it's becoming no longer something you're holding in one hand. No, it's a briefcase. It's not purse.
No, that's exactly right. I mean, it definitely is becoming a bigger device. Now, I personally went smaller. I like the iPad mini because I can hold it in one hand. I can hold it in a vertical orientation, split the keyboard apart, and double thumb type.
Yeah, and thumb type. Yeah.
I mean, I can do emails that way. I can do text messaging. I can browse the internet faster by being able to type with two hands. Right. Now, when you've got a 12.2 inch, now that's big enough that it could actually pull up a virtual, almost a full-size virtual keyboard. So now you could lay it flat on a table or on a stand and touch type with both your hands. I mean, that's a possibility too.
Oh, absolutely. You would have no problem typing on that.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, let's look at this. Yeah. The specs alone, 1.66 pounds, so we're getting up there a little bit in weight. The screen, it's a big screen.
Beautiful.
Yeah, 2,560 by 1,600 at 247 ppi. So it's
247 ppi.
Good resolution.
Dense. That is dense pixels. Yep. That's going to be absolutely beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's got two cameras, just like all the tablets nowadays. An 8 megapixel rear, a 2 megapixel front. Right. The Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. What's interesting though, USB 3.0.
That
is cool. Yes, that is very cool. I mean, it's like these commercials. You can't put that there.
Yeah. Don't stick this here.
Yeah.
With the apples, you can't do anything. Yeah. This is, okay. Moving data in and out of this thing. Let's say if you want to do a movie and let's say you have like a 64 gig version and you want to move on, let's say 30 gigs of movies, which is a ton.
That's a lot.
Because you're going on a trip to, overseas or whatever the case might be. To do that through, through Wi-Fi. I mean, even through N or AC, it doesn't make a difference. It would be brutal.
Yeah, this is going to be fast.
Through USB 3?
Yeah.
That would be screaming fast.
Yeah.
Screaming fast. I think that is a huge point, is having that USB 3 connectivity. That's cool.
I agree. And it's a universal connector. I mean, it's something that exists on all modern computers, even, other devices, peripherals.
Yeah. And now even Apple has USB 3. Congratulations, finally.
Right. But not on their tablets, not on their iPads. That's still the Lightning connector. So, now you're dealing on the Apples, you're dealing with a proprietary connector. So,
of course.
Definitely pros and cons. You can get it in LTE, 3G, and Wi-Fi flavors. Interesting. It's running Android 4.4 KitKat.
KitKat, man. That's like, you don't hear that very often. That's the brand new 4.4. And what's nice about that, guys, if you don't know, it has like a brand new front end. What do they call it? Magazine US or something?
Yeah, well, it's Samsung's kind of modification to the KitKat operating system, right? And they call it Magazine US.
Yeah, but it has the whole idea here, guys, is instead of like with an iPhone, you have everything divided up into folders, and you're dragging apps into all the different folders, and then once I folderitize the phone, it's done.
Folder attached,
Every single app that I stick in a folder, I never look at it again because it's like I don't even know that it's in
You know,
there.
yeah. I mean,
It
I wear
disappears.
glasses. Unless I have my glasses on, I can't even read the little labels. I need to look for icons. That's how I know what's what.
So this new method, they have 3 different screens. So you have like an office, a personal, and a social area. So you can just go between the 3 separate panels.
I like that.
That's just cool.
Yeah.
So then you have, like, let's say all of your social icons in the one panel.
Yep.
You have all your personal junk,
Your
on another,
games and all
your
that
games and all that.
stuff.
And then all of your office, you can segregate
Yeah.
so that you only do office stuff on, let's say, your main panel or whatever.
Yeah.
I really like that. So Android 4.4 KitKat, nice.
Yeah, I like it. I like the modifications that they did. This could be really cool for Samsung moving forward with their different devices. And I bet if this gets widely accepted, you'll definitely see something along those lines in the next iteration or an upcoming iteration of iOS. I think people will like that.
Yeah. I think that's what's going to happen is Apple's going to start pulling from Samsung instead of Samsung pulling from Apple pretty soon. Because they're definitely, as we say, you know, instead of iterating, they are making new ideas, which, you know, that whole well, we don't want to go into the whole Apple thing, but yeah, there's kind of, it seems to be a little stagnant right now, and hopefully that changes, you know.
Yep, hopefully. So we've got,
not with Samsung though, not stagnant. They are moving forward.
Yeah, they are. They've got it. They got it going on. So everybody, you know, we love GoPros. We talk about them all the time. We talk about all their different usage possibilities. You know, from the quadcopters to using them for weddings to whatever, you stash them anywhere.
Efficient shoulder cams.
Yes, mounted to their head. Yes.
Yeah.
So Liquid Image Action Cam is they're a company. They're best known for creating scuba masks with cameras in them. I've seen them a lot in the scuba sites and magazines and stuff. You know, as you know, I'm a diver and I do really dig that type of stuff. So they just came out with an action cam, kind of like the GoPro, but it has 4G LTE built into it. So you can actually stream with the thing rather than just record.
Yeah, so this would be the first, I guess, streaming video possible camera out there using the 4G LTE network.
In this action camera body format.
Right.
These small enclosures.
Ruggedized, you know.
Yep.
But yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, I like that wearable camera that you can actually. Can you imagine? Yeah, go on to, let's say, a ride or something, you know, in an amusement park or something. You have this thing you're wearing, or you're going down trails or something, but you're actually streaming it in comparison to recording it and then editing later. You know, I could see Twitch, or, you know, a network. All of a sudden, you get people, you know, streaming bungee cord jumps and skydives or something.
Well, yeah.
Obviously, you need to have the LTE connectivity, and you have to be in an area that gives a strong LTE connection. If not, it doesn't really matter. You're not going to be able to stream anything.
Right. The resolution on it
doesn't allow you to do it. You know, just because you have the ability doesn't amount.
Right.
Everything has to be, all the stars must be aligned, and LTE 4G being in your area has got to be number one, obviously.
Well, what they're doing, they're kind of handicapping it a little bit to the screen resolution. So, you know, again, iteration 1, version 1, you know, what version 2 will bring us down the road.
Yeah.
But right now, it's a 400 by 240 pixel resolution.
Yeah, thumbnail.
Streaming. So, yeah, it's kind of small. But think about it. You know, if you're one of these hot YouTube action people or something like that, you know, who are doing the, you know, extreme mountain biking or the, you know, or the free running, they call it, or the parkour or whatever,
sure.
You know, they could put out there to their fan base like, hey, we're going to be doing this live thing and whatever, and tune in and join us, and have these little streaming things mounted to their heads or on their wrist or whatever. If they're, you know, they're surfing, you could put your arm out and it's kind of shooting the back of your head as you're going through the tube or whatever. I mean, really cool. It's a really neat idea to be able to get it in real time, and it's a great way to drive real time traffic to a website, and that's key for the whole business end.
Yeah, especially now you have live YouTube, live. I mean, everything is live.
Everything is live streaming. Yep.
So, yeah. So they're saying 2 hours at 30 frames per second, which is a good amount of data. That, you know, I mean, this thing looks interesting. Now, what I don't understand is how they can do this. It's going to be like $200 for like the bare bones version. That is pretty cheap.
It's cheaper than a GoPro.
Yeah. And the LTE version is going to be like $400, but that's how much a GoPro is anyways. But with an LTE radio in there, I don't. Well,
yeah. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how this fares in the market. $200 for the LTE radio. I mean, obviously that's just for the module, the hardware. You're going to have some form of data plan that you'll be paying extra for. But if you're not on an unlimited plan and maybe you have a shared plan anyway, you can add another device to your shared plan and use that data. So you don't necessarily have to have a whole separate data account for it. Interesting. Right. I like where the technology is moving. I did get a GoPro for Christmas, a Hero 3 Plus, the Black Edition. Very cool. Very cool. Yes. It's, I'm definitely, I mean, obviously I've had one or two things going on over the last few weeks, so really haven't had a chance to play with it a whole lot. But I have a big 4x4 RC truck sitting here on the floor in my office, waiting for that baby to be strapped onto it. So we're gonna have some fun and some snowbanks and stuff, and do some jumping.
I'm looking forward to seeing that. Maybe even like your dog cam.
Yeah, strap it to my dog's collar. That's right. Yeah, we're gonna have some fun with this. I'm looking. So anyway,
so this little gem will be released mid-year. I guess they're saying June. So look for it. Yeah, and I'm gonna say GoPro will see this, know that it's coming, and
they're gonna have an iteration.
The
GoPro Hero 4 or something will have the LTE in it
included or whatever, but it'll be $600.
Right.
So we'll see. That's the prediction.
Yep.
Moving forward.
We're getting there, guys.
Yes. there's a lot. Right?
Yeah, there is a lot. Yeah, it's all good stuff, man.
No, absolutely. So new cases, right?
Yeah.
We're gonna move into some of the eye stuff, right?
The eye stuff, yes. Yes, it is CES. It's not just photography, so it is the electronics. So Mophie, you may have heard of them. They make cases that have battery power built into them. You plug your device into it, your phone into it. It fits like a case, and it extends the usage hours of your device. So they're coming out with this thing. It's the Space Pack. It's a battery case with built-in storage.
Yeah, it's very interesting, right?
Interesting, yeah.
Built-in storage.
So it's got a lot of juice to it. So it'll run a long time. It'll allow your phone to run a long time. And you can get it with 16 to 32 megabytes of storage. They have different models. I like it because you spend extra money to upgrade your cell phone to a larger storage. I mean, $100 more to go from 16 to 32, from 32 to 64. It's another $100. You could buy a case and actually expand your storage. You get a smaller capacity iPhone, but the case has the storage in it. It's not the phone. So we always thought, as you guys know, Joe and I both have had problems with our iPhone 5s and had to take them back to the store. Well, if you're storing, all these videos on there, not videos you shot, but movies, things that you've downloaded from iTunes or what have you.
Gigs and gigs and gigs.
You can't back that up to a free iCloud account. No. It doesn't give you enough space.
Even a paid-for iCloud account, you couldn't back that up.
Right. So you would have
what connection you have. It's just too much.
Yeah. So basically you'd have to re-download it again. But if you want to keep that type of media, that type of content on your phone, you could actually put it on the storage in the case.
Right.
Swap your phone back out, plug it in.
It's all there.
And it's all there. So I do like that.
Yeah, it's neat. Definitely neat. Moving on, more eye stuff. I'm sure you've watched the Arnold Schwarzenegger movies.
Predator,
and,
yes,
and all the rest.
Classic.
Yes, and if you like any type of military movies, you're going to see these people that are like looking through buildings or doing like these thermal imaging of like areas or grounds, and finding where people are. You'll see like a lot of times now. The helicopters, the police helicopters have them, and they can see like the robber. He's like running. You see
this red and orange figure running down the street.
Running.
Yeah.
It's like I don't see him.
See you.
Exactly. It's like look, the red and orange stopped, but it stopped inside the tree. What an idiot! Yeah. So, well, if you guys want to do this or see this way, or convert your iPhone into the Predator device. You can now. This is a pretty cool case. It converts your iPhone into a thermal imaging camera, right?
It's really neat. It's called, I'm guessing it's FLIR. It's FLIR, or IR for infrared. FLIR.
Yeah, probably infrared, yeah.
So, so it's like the same technology that's used for the police and the military, which is really cool. The case is powered, and it will run for 4 hours. And if you're
Which
not,
is good. That's a lot of power.
It's a lot. I mean, but it needs this extra power to run these IR cameras. So basically, you've got one infrared camera and you've got one regular camera. And then what you do is when you shoot an image, it combines the thermal image with the regular photograph to create almost like an outline around the image you just shot. So if you were to
just like if you're doing like image sharpening and you're taking that external edge sharpening.
Right.
So that's what this does. It takes that picture, it creates this hard edge all the way around, and then dumps that, and then overlays the IR image. So now you have the image of the heat signature along with those edges. So you can
it really defines it more. It makes it a more legible photo.
We're going to have to show some of these pictures. And
there's some really neat pictures online. We'll bring them up, and if you're watching the video, you take a look. But what's really cool is it can detect heat signatures up to 100 meters. I mean, that's
100 meters. That's a football field.
That's far. I mean, that's really far. So it's really cool. They even gave an example of it picking up the heat signature from somebody walking across the floor after they've removed, after their foot has moved. They actually pick up the heat signature on the carpet.
You can still see the heat on the carpet.
Really neat.
Yeah, it's this is like military police grade stuff.
Yeah.
And, they're looking at spring as far as release date, about $350.
Yeah, it's not going to be cheap, but
not cheap,
but it's fun.
Man,
you're basically buying a camera.
You're buying just a hella cool gadget
that
all
really
of your friends will want. They'll be like, "Oh my God, did you see what this guy has?"
Yes.
That's just awesome. Awesome.
Yes. So moving on to turning your iPhones into these cameras,
all sorts of things,
really cool things. So there's another case type of device called a Ladibird.
Right.
And basically the idea of it is it turns your iPhone into a serious portrait camera. That's what they're calling it. Serious portrait camera. Yeah, so basically it's a case. On the back side of the case, it's got a big fixed 50 millimeter lens. It looks like a DSLR lens. I mean, it's big.
And it's a 1.8. So
and it's a 1.8.
You get those nice little milky backgrounds,
yes.
Supposedly, and we'll get to why supposedly after.
Right, yeah, exactly. So it's got a CMOS sensor, but the specs are kind of still not out there yet. They say it's due to NDA at this time, but they say that the image sensor is 7.5 times larger than the iPhone's built-in sensor.
Right.
So
this is kind of where we kind of the 1.8 kind of falls apart, because you're probably going to end up dealing with this sensor that is very small. So I don't know.
It's not going to be an APS-C.
Yeah, where do you get the serious portrait? I mean, I think where they come up with the serious is because they are using a 50 millimeter 1.8, but the problem is what's doing the interpolation of that. So yeah, you might have a good lens, but I don't know. We'll see what happens, with that. The whole idea is, once again, it's one of those crowd-funded projects, right?
Yeah, it's done on Indiegogo. They not Kickstarter this time.
Yeah.
From just FYI, I hear it's easier to get an Indiegogo project approved than it is for Kickstarter. Kickstarter is a little bit more discriminate. They really want to see a solid business plan before they're going to allow you to crowdfund on their device.
Yeah.
On their service. But I don't know. I like the idea. I think it's cool. I think it's cool that the case interfaces with the lightning connector in the bottom of the phone, thus turning the phone into a storage device and an interface, bypassing the built-in camera altogether, using this external camera on the back of the case. I like that. I like the idea. I like the technology. I like the direction where we're going. We have to see how it performs.
Yeah, see how it happens. Iteration one.
Iteration one. Yeah.
Once again, crowdsourced, funded. So, yeah.
They're saying it's going to be like
something good could happen, with this for sure. It's got, like you said, it's a good idea. So they're looking at what, $300, I guess.
Well, $300 contribution to the crowdfunding thing. They're, from what I saw online, it looks like they're saying it's going to be like $137 for this case.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, is that going to be possible? Is the quality going to be there? I mean, we know.
Everyone knows a 50 millimeter 1.8 is $100 no matter how you look at it. If that is truly that quality lens, even the toy Canon 1.8 50 millimeter is
$100.
$99, $89. So, I don't know.
Interesting.
We'll see. I think it's interesting. Yeah, pretty cool. Once again, another eye device, more Apple stuff. There's, whenever you deal with CES, it's very gadget oriented.
Oh, yeah.
There's just a lot of neat stuff, though.
And there were so many products that came out. I mean, we only obviously touched on the stuff that we're interested in as it relates to the photo community and the technology that we're already using. But I mean, CES is the place to go. I mean, if you're a
candy store,
nut, it's like a candy store. I've never been to CES. I almost had the opportunity to go to this year to be part of CES and PMA. Things didn't quite work out, obviously.
Right.
But maybe next year.
Yeah,
we'll see if next year is going to work out.
So, all right, Trev. Yeah. Long show. This week. We got to get out of here.
Yeah, so hope you guys enjoyed your coffee while you were listening to us.
Exactly. Or working out, or in the car, or on the train.
That's
right.
We
get a lot of people in Europe on the train listening to us.
Yeah, that's right. Actually,
shout outs to you guys on the train.
yeah. We actually have seen a big boost in our numbers recently. Like within the last month or so, and we're getting a lot of traffic coming from Germany, right? That's where we looked at the specs. So apparently we're big in Germany. So
yes, well, that's good. My mother was born in Essen.
Yes, that's awesome. So all right, Joe,
so that's good.
We're done. We're out of here. Let's hit the road. If people want to connect with you outside of the show, what's the best way to do it?
Twitter.
Yes.
At Joseph Christina, and that's Christina without an H.
Yes, and you can reach me on Twitter. It's at Trevor Current.
Sorry, everyone. We are done. We are out of here for another week. You can get all the show notes from this episode by visiting digitalphotographycafe.com/136. And don't forget to send your questions and comments to comments@digitalphotographycafe.com. Or simply call 440-345-6707. Once again, that's 440-345-6707, and we will see you next week.
You've been watching the Digital Photography Cafe Show with Trevor Current and Joseph Christina. Be sure to subscribe to the show for free in iTunes or through RSS. You can also listen on Stitcher and TuneIn Radio and watch in HD on TiVo. Visit digitalphotographycafe.com for show notes and to connect with your hosts.